Welcome to episode 5 of the Super Acquaintances College Baseball Podcast. I'm Travis. We got the full squad back this time. TJ, Brennan, and Suges have been able to be regulars. Eric made it with us last time. Benjie is back. We miss both of you guys, especially
We're
Benjie.
just more dedicated to the cause, so it's fine.
I miss you guys too, honestly.
Hey, tell my fiance that.
Hey, I know, I got it. So my background is different because I'm recording from Phoenix. I just came from the doubleheader that Arizona State played today. I don't know, I'm sure nobody is watching the Pac-12 network because it's nearly impossible. I don't know if you guys saw, San Francisco fired their head coach this morning. I saw that on Twitter after I left the game.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this a little bit. I have some screenshots. Apparently he was.
So you saw this too?
Yeah, he was being mean to them, and it was regular for him to be naked on the baseball field and to be standing in a window helicoptering his little peener for all of the players.
Dude, we need to get this guy on the
Hold on.
Here, I'm going to slide in his DM, see if we can get an interview.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We need to get sources on this before we get sued into oblivion before we even start.
This
Defamation lawsuit coming.
This is a link from ex-USF baseball players.
What?
US,
How many X's?
3 ex-USF players. So I guess he was coaching at USF before he got bounced to San Francisco. So I mean, these are his former players, Coach Nakamura, and he was always naked in South Florida apparently, swinging that thing around like
Maybe he was just trying to hit dongs with his dong out there on the field.
Oh my god! Well, I knew the pitching coach took 5 minutes to go to the mound, and then before he would call that makes sense.
Yeah, he had to put his clothes on, man.
Wow. So so Arizona State, they played
left field.
San Francisco with interim head coach today.
So if he's been doing that for a while, how did this just all unfold? Was it just like an athletic trainer?
Do you really want to know how it all
accidentally
unfolded?
saw it, or
Just guys being dudes, man.
In the business of
Yeah, we'll do some research and we'll just post it on
let's
our
dig into
socials.
that.
Maybe we'll do a blog post on it.
Okay. This is the kind of journalism that you can expect going forward from our SAC podcast.
Yeah, but he got fired for
would
being
definitely
mean.
not report this.
No, ESPN did report it.
They said that he put his Peter in a helicopter. They said that?
There is a link from @Mark Etheridge to the ESPN article. I'll retweet it on the social so you guys all have it. But yeah, it's deep in there.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. So,
All right.
only getting better from here, guys.
Welcome to Phoenix.
Listen to the rest of the hour. Arizona State beat San Francisco 17-11 or something crazy. Just no pitchers could find the strike zone. And then, one thing I'll say, the second game they played Mizzou, two teams that we wouldn't really honestly think twice about, except for Arizona being a national powerhouse in the heyday of their program back in the 60s and 80s. But it was visually very beautiful. The Mizzou were rocking the gray unis, but were slightly darker gray, so it doesn't look like you just walked into Dick's and bought the clearance baseball pants. Kind of like the Tennessee grays that were darker gray like that.
Sexy.
And ASU was rocking the Tequila Sunrise jerseys. So beautiful stadium, beautiful uniforms.
That's the home of Barry Bonds, too.
That's
ASU.
right. Barry Bonds, Reggie Jackson, Lou Brock.
Should be Hall of Famer.
I didn't realize, yes, absolutely should be a Hall of Famer. So.
Should be a Hall of Famer.
Arizona State was not the only team to play baseball this weekend. We're going to, just so you listeners have a heads up, we are going to take a slightly different approach to this podcast. Instead of just reading stats at you for an hour while, it's informative, that may not necessarily be what you want to listen to for an hour at a time. So we're going to try our hand at hosting a couple of different segments that we intend to branch off into more collaborative and engaging discussions on, what's all going on in college baseball, as opposed to telling you that Kansas beat Michigan State 3-1 yesterday, because I love Kansas, but
not that much.
We're going to do a quick, instead of taking an hour, we're going to burn down the major events that happened in college baseball this weekend. So just going by date and by person, Eric, what teams, first off, did you secure the victory this week in fantasy? And if you did, what teams powered you or kept you from achieving that?
Not even close, dude. UCF and Tulane basically single-handedly lost this for me against Suges. Tulane got swept by Evansville, which very disappointing. Did not see that coming at all. And then UCF got pretty beat up by North Florida. I played them Friday, they lost. I sit them Saturday, they win. I play them on Sunday, they lose. So that pretty much single-handedly lost it. And then Virginia and Tennessee pretty much kept me from going farther in the negative.
Before we move on to Suges and what, if you were just, benefiting from his lackluster display, Eric, just so the listeners are aware, what's been going on just outside of the world of baseball?
Yeah, so as most people, that listeners have noticed, I wasn't on last weekend. I was out in Tennessee planning my wedding in September. I saw the Vandy bus at the airport a couple hours before they flew back from Hawaii, and I tried to convince my fiance to just stay around. I was like, we can just sleep in the parking garage at the airport for 4 hours, and then I'm gonna go talk to some Vandy guys, and she just wasn't having it. So, missed opportunity there.
Well, I hope the wedding planning is going well. All right, Suges, what's new with you, and run us down your successful victory.
All right, so I'm Austin, and I'm the owner of Hall of Fame Construction. I'm sponsoring this podcast. I've been working on several remodels this week, so glad I could, get some spare time to be on with you boys. This week, I beat up on Eric pretty good, but my teams didn't really have to do anything because his teams, got in the negative a lot. So as long as, they stayed 2 wins and 1 loss, or 1 win and 2 losses, I kind of cruised by. What did help me too is, again, Tech swept the weekend. Even though they played Rice is definitely a baseball school, but they've been coming in clutch for me. So, they took care of business today and this weekend. They actually came from behind too. It was 3-1, I believe, and they were down, and they just came back and beat Rice. So, glad they could get another dub.
Did Florida State end up winning their series?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so they lost on Friday.
So they lost the first one, and then they bounced back the next 2 games and won those. So that's huge because Wake Forest, I think, only had 1 loss at the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll save the best for last. So who won the match between Brennan and Benjie?
Best for last, Brennan. My ass.
Brennan.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? I got my first victory. I'm a little...
I'm on a 2-game losing streak.
I'm 4-0.
Gets his first win, doesn't know how to act.
So what ruined my life was the game, the snow day game against Louisville and Michigan, where they just kept allowing Michigan to score and hit baseballs in the pissing snow for no reason, and then allowed them to finish that game instead of just restart on Sunday.
Not even hitting, walking.
That was a blizzard. Right. I've never seen a baseball game continue.
Yeah, potentially dangerous.
It was awful. But
the pitcher clearly he couldn't get a grip on the ball. You talk about dangerous.
In the TV feed, you could barely even make out the players.
It was crazy.
So that was pretty much my detriment. Miami losing that first game to Boston College didn't help at all either. And even though I think last podcast I projected Louisville to go 3-0, I just didn't play them. So every point that I could have had just went to Benjie.
Because I had Michigan.
Yeah, and when it was about 3 o'clock today, I was like, hell yeah, I'm 30 points behind. I have a chance to catch up. And then Benjie goes and puts in his 15-5 Vandy score and just shits on everything that I loved.
Yeah.
And he waited till right after we posted the close game on our socials.
Yeah. So I'm not doing too hot. I think all my teams are awful.
probably had the worst draft of anyone here.
Yeah, I have the complete opposite.
Wow.
I'm the best there ever is or was, plain and simple.
So I'm
good at everything, great at nothing. I was good at my draft. I got super lucky because North Carolina wasn't even ranked, but they have been putting down. I think they're 14-2 now after this weekend. So they have been phenomenal for me. Those 2 losses are actually the only times I didn't play them, so I actually got super lucky on those. Notre Dame and Vandy obviously are my 2 big point scorers every single week. This week, Vandy put up 20, 52, and 40 throughout the weekend, and then Notre Dame put up 24 and 42 on their 2 games versus NC State. So I'm getting super lucky. Obviously,
And that's
I have
fantasy
really
points,
good-
not actual runs.
Yeah. That's fantasy points, not actual runs.
I mean, I'm 4-0 now, so we'll see how next week. I think I face Eric finally for the final matchup.
Did Oregon State win the series, or did they lose it?
No, they
You know?
won the series. They went 2-1. They
Okay.
got walked off today. Which
I think
Which
they
is kind
clinched
of
the series
unfortunate.
yesterday, but they
Yeah.
didn't win the
Yeah.
sweep game.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, Benji, if we're saving the best for last in terms of record, then yes, I have no claim on that particular title. However, I was able to get my first victory at the hands of my good friend, TJ over there. So honestly, it was a pretty close matchup, right? It was just today that sealed the deal. Arkansas finally figured their shit out. They're finally scoring the way they should be, which is a good thing because they combine with Florida. Florida put a number on Seton Hill. But Stanford dropped. They almost got swept by Oregon. They dropped the first 2, and they had a 10-4 lead going to the 9th inning and gave up a 2-run bomb in the Sunday game. So they were 4 runs away from getting swept by Oregon at home.
I think them and Mississippi State have been the biggest disappointments this year.
We're going to definitely talk about them a little bit more later. But from a fantasy perspective, Stanford was a liability. But luckily, Arkansas and Florida were kind of enough to power me past, along with Georgia Tech's big day today against Virginia Tech.
Arkansas almost gave you a scare too.
Oh, absolutely,
That
they
game
did.
was fought off in the last 3
Yeah,
minutes. So.
UIC was, I think it was 9-9.
Making them
or
sweat for sure.
8-8. They had runners at second and third, 2 outs, and just couldn't
Making
do
me
the job.
sweat for sure.
Yeah.
I had the inevitable feeling that I was somehow going to fuck it up and lose again. So luckily, I avoided that once. TJ, what you again? Matchup was really close until this last day. So if you want to take us through.
Yeah,
how
so I
your
see
weekend shook
nothing
out.
wrong with what Travis said. He quite literally did save the best for last. So I'm here, TJ. Just getting over my shoulder surgery recovery. Had no ligaments in there and a fracture in there that I didn't find out about until about a couple months ago. So living the dream over here, just about to start rehab. And that's for my shoulder, not my life.
But needs to be for both.
Maybe, who knows?
There's probably a
So
facility in that.
So yeah, had just another abysmal week. Not a whole lot that I could do for my teams. One good team that I touched or that I kind of underestimated was Oregon. They took the series 2-1. If they want to be any sort of Pac-12 contender, they're going to need to continue that level of baseball play. Moving down, we had Texas. Rough. Yeah, dropping.
They've had a rough week, not even just the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what was off. The combo from Stevens and Hansen looks pretty decent. I would have loved to have gotten more out of Pete Hansen. They only combined for 6 2/3 innings pitched. So that's all you can do in that sort of game. But yeah, South Carolina just wanted it more.
They can't be
apparently.
perfect every weekend, though.
Well, yeah,
You know, I
and-
think we've put
yeah.
them on a pedestal above every other college baseball team. So
I mean, their pitching is a lot
how-
better
how-
than most college
Yeah,
baseball
well,
teams.
I disagree. They don't have to be perfect, but you need to win your series. You
Yeah,
can drop a
you-
game to South
You
Carolina.
can't have your
but-
two aces combining for 6 2/3 innings.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
want that from each guy.
And
You-
losing Tanner Witt on that Sunday,
Big
I mean
deal.
that's
It is.
a
Big
huge deal.
And I mean, it showed.
Does losing your Sunday starter translate on Saturday and Friday? How much does that affect?
For sure,
from
right?
Saturday?
Because if you
It's
have
demoralizing.
if you have a rock solid starter for Sunday, right, you don't feel like you have to save like the best bullpen arms, for Sunday, because like you're gonna be out a starter, right? You can use those high leverage guys on Friday and Saturday if you need to, because you've got 5-6 quality innings from your dude. That applies to any, I think, like elite starter, right? Landon Sims, Blake Money. I don't know what the status of Money is, right? But like losing a elite guy like that impacts a team, and more than just the innings they're losing, but how they're having to cover, even the innings that they don't pitch. So
yeah, pretty heavily. And then moving down, had NC State just looked bad. I am not even on their side of the field anymore. I hate watching them play. That game 1 was just painful to watch in the last inning. Giving up 4. No one could find the strike zone. It looked like the North Carolina Indians out there trying to survive against the Marlins. and it doesn't work. Georgia swept Lipscomb, playing solid ball. Looking for them to heat up as they continue their SEC conference play. Wake Forest, I'll talk about them later on. They dropped 2. I have them going 2-1. They dropped 2 to Florida State. Their schedule, me and Benjie were talking about it earlier. Their schedule gets rough here coming on soon.
Wake Forest, don't they play Georgia Tech next?
Yeah.
Wake Forest, they got Georgia Tech, North Carolina,
schedule.
Clemson, NC State, which, not good anymore.
But that's just
they got an off
ACC
weekend.
play, man. Yeah.
Theirs looks rough. I don't know if they can keep it up.
The ACC and the SEC are going to be gauntlets this year. And,
For sure. It just looks rough for their schedule. I don't know why. You just look at it and it's just like back to back to back, like getting hammered. Even in their midweek games too.
Hey, so speaking of Georgia, I know you mentioned they swept at Lipscomb. Lipscomb? Not Timmy Lincecum.
Timmy Lynn.
They swept Lipscomb. We actually had a new friend of the podcast, our first ever guest interview, currently a student at the University of Georgia. So we'll edit that in here for everybody. First ever guest interview, Calvin Boyd at the University of Georgia. How are you doing tonight, man?
Pretty good. How about you guys? Doing good?
Doing well.
Doing all right, man.
Yeah, we got the whole squad here getting ready to record our weekly episode. Calvin was one of the Twitter followers that was engaging most, energetically with us over the last week or so, which is awesome. We're just getting this podcast off the ground, and it's awesome to even build a following of one person. But what is it you love about college baseball, and what makes you passionate about the sport?
Oh, baseball. There's about a million reasons why I could say I love baseball, but over anything else, over any other sport, it's just how quickly it can change and how you can never predict the outcome of pretty much any game. It's not like football where the best team is always gonna win.
Yep.
A good team can go out there and get beat by someone that you've never heard of pretty much any day.
My DraftKings will tell you that.
It's shown enough this season.
Yeah, my
Absolutely.
17 parlays.
Yeah, it's killed me. I'm like 0 for 6 on like 5 or 6 team parlays, losing like one game every time.
Right.
Yup.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're at that Georgia. We were just watching literally right now the end of the Georgia Tech game. I don't know if you caught that. If there was a freshman that drag bunted with 2 outs in the 14th inning to score the tying run. Like, just absolutely bonkers stuff.
Bold plays.
Yeah.
Gotta love baseball.
Stuff. So when we were releasing rankings about a week, maybe a week and a half ago, I think it was fresh off Georgia Tech taking the series 2-1 from Georgia, and most of our guys were pretty low on Georgia, and one of the reasons we said was that they weren't dominating some of the, let's call it like lower tier competition
Like
opponents,
mid-major schools.
Yeah, it seems like Akron and
Albany.
Yeah, so we were kind of trashing on them a little bit, And you Calvin jumped in and was one of your key points was this idea that margin of victory is definitely is not the end all be all of indicator of team performance.
Calvin, I got Georgia in my top 25 now, so they're looking good. They took care of business this weekend.
Yeah, they got a sweep this weekend against Lipscomb. They played good baseball, and then I think they split with Georgia Southern this week.
Yeah, they split with Georgia Southern. Yep.
And Georgia Southern is not a slouch, right? I mean, they beat Georgia Tech in the midweek too, so they're a quality team.
Yeah, Georgia's just a good baseball state. It seems like.
Well, the best high school kids are coming out of Georgia, like pretty much every year. It's honestly a shame that Georgia and Georgia Tech aren't hosting regionals and every year and going to the College World Series more often because they can't keep the talent in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to just be Texas, California, and Florida. And so, yeah, Georgia's definitely popping up there with some talent.
Hey, here's either Georgia Tech and maybe Georgia. Let's see if we can get a regional or at least one of the two be a super regional host. Thanks again, man, for coming on. I know it was kind of brief, but I think we all enjoyed having you, and we'd be happy to have you on in the future too. Especially, we can bring you on as the UGA consultant if they make a big push like in SEC play,
Yeah, hopefully it happens. I appreciate you guys having me on. Love listening to some college baseball talk. It definitely doesn't get the love it deserves.
Yeah, we wanna try to change that. Thanks again, man. We'll keep tagging you on Twitter, and hopefully have you back on soon. Right?
Yeah, rankings will be out tomorrow morning. So
yeah.
Hopefully we'll surprise you with some of Georgia's placements.
All right. Well, you guys have a good one.
All right, you too, brother.
You too, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
Calvin. Appreciate it.
Yeah, big shouts out to him for coming on.
Shout out, Calvin.
Yeah, shout out Calvin. He's a real one. Just for the record, Sue just wanted to block you.
I vetoed that. Don't worry.
I have receipts.
We vetoed that.
yeah.
So
He didn't
quickly.
end up being a dick, so you're cool,
Yeah,
Calvin.
no, he's awesome. All right. So, so if you've listened to the last couple episodes, we're going to take a little bit of a departure from what we have been doing. I think it's going to be a win for us as hosts and a win for you as a listener hearing better discussion about college baseball. So the first segment I think we're going to cover, Eric has volunteered to kind of lead us on who we think as a podcast we should award our award for players and games of the weeks, or I guess weekends specifically, since this is a Monday episode. So, Eric, if you want to, well, for the listeners, I will say how we kind of want this to work is we're going to make all these segments interactive among us 6 hosts, where one of us will lead the segment and the rest of us will submit, if you will, entries for that host to judge. So, Eric, if you want to take us away, who is your submission for player and games of the week, and then we'll let you know who ours are, and then ultimately you'll decide who the award goes to.
Let's preface this. Sorry, players, you don't get any actual awards.
Not yet.
We might tweet
Yeah,
at
maybe
you.
one day. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
We'll tweet a GIF of you swinging or something.
A GIF, you mean?
Yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah, it's not the peanut butter.
GIF.
We don't have time
Not
for
the peanut
this.
butter.
Yeah, whatever.
All right.
Player of the week. Coming at you.
We'll post you on our socials. So my personal player of the week is going to be Nate Savino from Virginia. Came out on Friday, pitched a complete game shutout, giving up 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, and no walks on 103 pitches in a Virginia 5-0 win over Duke. I guess we're just going to run down who everybody's player of the week is, and then we'll hand out the award.
Yeah, I'll go. I got the Hispanic Titanic, Ivan Melendez. He went 4 for 3 with 3 home runs this weekend, a double, 6 RBIs. Hit a moonshot of a home run in game 2 today. I'm sorry, in the second game.
Disrespect.
493 feet, 112 exit velo. Yes.
Wait, y'all were serious
Wait, did you
about
say 493?
493, yes.
He hit a house.
That was official?
Yes, this is
On
StatCast.
the fly or rolling?
On the fly. It was a moonshot. That was not a.
That was not the home run he bat flipped.
Oh
over
yeah,
the
the
pitcher's mound.
could have been the most disrespectful bat flip I think
Wow.
I've ever seen in my life. Through the bat,
Almost
essentially.
took the pitcher out.
40 feet towards the pitcher.
Holy shit.
I mean, it was just like something you would see in like MLB Slugfest type stuff. It was disrespectful. I'm not surprised that the next batter got plunked. May not have been intentional, but yeah, it was interesting.
Bat flips are awesome, but yeah, doing it right at the pitcher is a bit like I'm a pitcher, and honestly, like if you give up a home run, like the guy deserves to celebrate, but not when he's throwing the bat at you.
Yeah.
All right, Benji, who's your player of the game submission?
Mine was Vandy versus Wagner. I got Carter Holton. He threw six innings pitched with 1 hit allowed with 13 Ks, only allowing 1 walk. He's also 3-0 in the season. I think I talked about him in the first podcast, if I'm not mistaken. He was like one of my players to watch for Vandy pitching. But he's been phenomenal all year. And he was like the standout for me with 13 Ks or 6. That's not bad.
For sure. That's pretty damn good.
2 innings, so it's pretty good.
So just
Yeah, I think I got Benjie topped here. I have Brandon Birdsell from Tech. They call him Birdie. He pitched 6 innings, 0 earned runs, 0 hits, 0 walks. He was perfect through 6 with 15 strikeouts.
Wow.
So
Yep.
I don't know if you can top that as a pitcher.
Yeah.
So 15 strikeouts in 6 innings.
That's crazy.
hot.
that's a
Yeah,
lot.
so he's definitely my player of the week. He's probably going to be the pitcher of the week or the player of the week for the NCAA awards. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you love that.
Definitely tops my ass.
And I'm kind of anxious to see too if there's like another stat line that's similar to that in college baseball ever. So 15 Ks in 6 innings is unreal.
So I have a guy, Matthew Becker from South Carolina. Today, 6 innings pitch, 11 strikeouts, 1 earned run against number 1 Texas. As that's hard to do against any team, but especially the number 1 team in the country, Texas. I mean, that kid was on fire today. I was watching a little bit of that game, and I mean, it was every time I looked up, they were like strikeout 8, 9,
punchy,
10, and I was like, damn. And also, I have Blake Helmstetter.
You've said that before, huh? You've read it before, huh?
Yeah, from Iona.
No.
Shocker, Iona.
Let's go.
Hey.
Shout out.
Did he pull
Iona.
the Stephen Reed? I saw my boy from Georgia Tech struck out 5 times today.
No, he actually pitched 7.1 innings and only gave up 3 runs. I think that's the least amount Iona has ever given up in a game in the history of the world, and he deserves recognition, even though they played
Most
Delaware.
improved award right there.
Shout out, you got little leaguers playing
And
behind you.
Eric, before you give your award out, can we do a coach of the week? Because I think that belongs to Wes Carroll with Evansville sweeping Tulane. So I'm gonna give him the coach of the week right there.
Okay,
I
Sue
think
just
he might be
hijacking.
the only submission, so there we go.
Sue just hijacking the segment. So I definitely wanted to go last because this may not be the most statistically impressive performance, but you won't probably ever see it again for a long time. So junior center fielder Judd Fabian for Florida on Saturday in a doubleheader against Seton Hill. He drove in 6 runs in the 2 games and homered. Both of his homers, 1 in each game, were 2-run homers. And both of those 2-run homers, he drove in his brother, third baseman freshman Derek Fabian. So
wow.
That's
hit
awesome.
hit 2 home runs on the day, 1 in each game. And both of those home runs he drove in his younger brother, who got on base before him.
New definition of
Pretty
brotherly
cool.
love.
How cool is that?
For real.
That's really cool.
You gotta love it.
You got
So
a tough
some-
choice, Eric.
Crazy pitching performances.
Yeah.
But,
So I think just because I know that this guy had 8 strikeouts in his first 2 innings, I think I'm gonna have to go with Tex pitcher Birdsell over there.
well, you said 8 strikeouts in the 2 innings?
Yes.
Yeah, he had,
Yeah.
8
He had 2
strikeouts in
drop
2
third
innings.
strikes
He had
in a
2
row.
drop
Yeah.
third strikes.
We will
guy
get on
Reed
that
Rogers
later
strike.
for our crazy stats. So,
Okay.
But I think Birdsell's gonna win our player of the week this week.
shout out
Congrats
Birdie.
to you.
I'm a
Good
little
shout out,
heated, but
Birdie.
8 strikeouts and 2 innings.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track.
I don't know if that's a player of the week material. It might be the most interesting stat.
Right.
But
Well, hey, we're learning as we go
Yeah.
here. So Suges is going to lead our next segment here. Tell us about it.
So this is my favorite segment. I love saying this every week, and it is going to be Contender or Pretender. So somebody will give the name of the team that they think is going to be a contender later down the road, and someone that is overrated and that is a pretender. So Eric, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, so for my contender, I'm going with the only unbeaten left, Purdue. Their competition this season, I think their competition that they have throughout the season isn't going to get much tougher than it has been. Their toughest matchup, looking at their schedule earlier today, was going to be Maryland in their last series of the season. They have a combined team ERA of 2.71, and they average almost 7 runs a game. So they've been outscoring their opponents so far in 14 games by 4 runs. And I think they can keep it up because they're getting production from up and down the lineup. There's not really any standout players because they're all just putting up 1-2 hits a game, constantly knocking in runs, pitching lights out.
And then your pretender?
My pretender's gonna have to be Clemson. They only have four of their 9 starters have above a 300 batting average. Their average as a team is only 302, which is impressive as far as baseball goes, but in college baseball, as we all know, usually good teams have higher batting averages, and that's only against mid-tier pitching. Like they haven't really faced any of the high. They played like Hartford, Cornell. They're not playing any of these top
302 this early in the season is a little low.
So how have they been? Have they just been out pitching people to get all those wins?
Essentially, they haven't really blown anybody out. Like I think Cornell, I don't think they've put up double-digit runs in very many games so far this season.
And their strength of schedule hasn't been that great.
Not bad at all. And then since they're in the ACC, they're going to be running into powerhouses like Virginia, Georgia Tech, Miami, Florida State. It's like all those teams. I think they'll finish the season just above 500. And then at the end of the season, we'll be looking back going, how did Clemson go 13-1 to start the season?
Jowers?
I chose my pretender, which, as I stated earlier, is going to be Wake Forest. They were off to a phenomenal start, undefeated up until a week ago. They just haven't played anybody, and I think this weekend shows that they maybe aren't ready for the higher tier ACC opponents. Like I said, their schedule just looks mean coming up. They don't have any easy per se bye week or midweek games, so I think it's going to be tough for them to try to get on a hot streak and try to string wins together. So they're going to be my pretender. I don't think they're going to make the tournament.
Travis? My
contender is Liberty. When I looked back on Liberty's schedule so far and their statistics, we touched on Derek Orndorff. He's going to be like a statistic leader for next episode, but so they lost to Campbell on Friday. I believe it was Friday. I think it was not a midweek game. I'm pretty sure it's Friday.
Ruined my parlay too.
So before that loss, they had an 11-game winning streak going, right? They dropped opening day to Florida, won 11 in a row before losing again to Campbell. And I'm not going to hold that loss against Campbell against them. And I will tell you why in my segment. But yeah, Liberty, they're hot, 11-game winning streak until they ran into a buzzsaw that is the pitcher that pitched for Campbell. Again, I'm going to touch on him later. My pretender is Stanford. I had written in my notes, so luckily Stanford won today. I had written in my notes, if Stanford lost today and got swept by Oregon, my prediction is that by this time next week, they would be a 500 team because they would lose at least 2 of 3 to Arizona, who's their next weekend play. So luckily, it feels like they do this every time where they just come out lackluster Friday, Saturday, and then they hit a little bit. But the reason I kept booing them up, like giving them room to like lose, is because I kept saying their starting pitching was elite. And that's still true, but they're proving that they don't have the support system. Like the bullpen blew the victory in game 1. They gave up a walk-off home run in the 9th inning. to tolerate less than stellar starting pitching performances. Like, for example, Quinn Matthews, who I was really high on, just didn't have it on Saturday, and then they lost. So, they have the elite starting pitching, but they as of now, they don't have the support system to tolerate when that pitching isn't just lights out. So
Gotcha.
That's what I've got.
Benjie, you got one for your pretender?
I got pretender, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State by a landslide. They're 9-6. They got swept by Gonzaga last weekend.
Oh.
They've lost to Sam Houston. Yeah, I mean, I was heavy on them when the season started because they beat Vandy for 2 of the 3 games. And now Vandy is 14-2. Those are Vandy's only 2 losses.
Yeah. I think the polls had OK State in the top 10 too in the early season and preseason.
They still have them in the top 10.
They still have them in the top 10. I dropped them down, I think 25 this week. I put them at 25 now. They're barely holding on. But with them being my pretender, their team ERA is a 3.51, which isn't horrible, but that's also not good. But what's worse is their team batting average is 263. Which is it's not good. I mean, they have some guys still batting like 350 plus, but not anything hopeful there. The only thing that they have to their advantage is their next 4 weekends are Seton Hall, Kansas State, and OU. So they can pull it through because they have a decent schedule. But I think if it comes to the World Series wise, they're going to have a rough time playing actually good teams because they're not playing a hard schedule right now. My contender is none other than North Carolina. They're 14-2 right now. I didn't dive too deep into their team stats, but their next 4 weekends are Duke, Miami, Virginia Tech, and Louisville. And honestly, with how all 4 of those teams are playing, I think they have a good chance to actually pull through the next coming weeks. So. And I'll get into more about North Carolina in another segment, actually.
Cool.
Perfect.
Brennan, let's hear yours.
So, I'm sorry, Travis, but my pretender is going to have to be the Liberty Flames.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go with Georgia Tech.
No,
I think they're going to pull a Tulane. Are they going to pull?
I'm interested to hear your thoughts because I feel like I can argue pretty well for Liberty.
So I think Liberty.
Yeah, get into an argument with Travis, you won't win.
So I think Liberty has came off in a super hot fashion. I think they're a very good mid-major team, but I think they are going to cool off quick. They don't have an impressive schedule. I think they play like North Florida, Stetson, Jacksonville, and FGCU.
Wouldn't that be a reason why you'd want them as a contender if they're playing?
But I think they drop a lot of those games. Okay. I think they'll still host a regional. I don't think they will win their regional. I think Liberty has came out too hot, too early, and they're definitely going to fizzle out.
So you think that Flame is going to
win, though, baby? Yeah. I mean, they're literally batting 268. They're riding on Derek Orndorff's back right now. As we've seen with Tommy Tanks, he can't keep that up all season. There's absolutely no way.
So I completely agree on the offensive side of things, right? He's pulling the wagon right now in a major way. The reason I think that they can sustain the success is because of the bullpen that I've touched on. Like they have the arms to consistently lock down games, and we've seen like elite teams don't have that sometimes. Like Georgia Tech is not a team that has a lockdown bullpen. There are teams that you go into the 9th inning with a victory or a lead, and it's not a sure thing. Whereas if I watch a Liberty game, I feel like if there's a 2-3 run lead in the 8th, 9th inning, it's a done deal. And they showed it against Florida. Mm-hmm. And I would be more concerned if they were more inconsistent, right? I mean, they've been doing it pretty consistently for the last, 12 games. So yeah. I hear you. I hear you on the offensive side of things, but I think the pitching staff is enough to. Well, I said the same thing about Stanford's and look where
exactly.
Are, so.
Pitching can't carry everything.
Yeah.
And then my contender is going to be Tulane. Listen.
Wait, do you have them backwards?
No. So they also have a very.
Hold on. Check that. Are we sure?
So they also have a very weak out of conference schedule. I don't think they've peaked yet. I think Evansville that was just a tough weekend. I mean, it was 30 degrees in Louisiana. That doesn't happen. It's a cold weekend.
So you're saying that was their ECU Bryant weekend?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I think they definitely are still in a position to win the AAC. I don't see them stopping. I think they're gonna be just fine. Evansville is definitely a wake up call.
I think if anything, the Evansville series proves further how dog shit Mississippi State is.
I agree. I completely agree with that statement.
I see that whiteboard change though. That whiteboard change.
They got the win.
Let's see that.
They got the win today.
So
can't complain.
All right,
baby.
Suges, who are yours? Did you go through yours?
Yeah, no, I haven't yet.
Okay.
So my contender is Texas Tech. They are 14-3 on the year. They are 8-0 at home. They're 4-0 at home, and they're 2-3 at a neutral site. So their only losses have been in a neutral site. I think they're playing really good ball right now. So I have them as my contender. My pretender is actually Florida State. A lot of people are pretty high on them. They are in the ACC, so they're going to come with some stiff competition coming up pretty soon. And they dropped a lot of games to some subpar teams. For instance, Jacksonville and Samford, and they also lost to Cal. They dropped one to Wake Forest and lost to Mercer earlier this week too. Don't get me wrong, Mercer's a great ball club, but if you want to be a contender, you need to beat ball clubs like that. So they're going to be my pretender. For sure.
All right, who gets your stamp of Suge's approval on contender and pretender for this week? No, he didn't. Not submitted.
The contender. No, I'm going to give this award to Benjie because I completely agree with Oklahoma State being super overrated. I can't believe everybody in the polls still has them in their top 15. And I do agree with North Carolina. They've played amazing baseball so far this week, and their upcoming series are, not that great. I mean, later on in the conference, it'll get pretty tough, but I feel like he's got it on the nail right there. So I'm going to give that to him, and I'm going to give Travis the runner-up award right there because I do agree with Liberty being a contender and Stanford being the pretender. I'm going to go opposite with Brendan.
You're trash.
I think Stanford has such a high ceiling, but they have just Arkansas has flipped the switch and Stanford's just regressed. So
I'm gonna say that Stanford and Florida State are kind of like on the same realm right now. I thought they
very
both
similar.
are supposed to have very good starting pitchers, and they're just not proven. Yeah, and they're not proving their depth either during midweeks as well and on Friday games.
So speaking of starting pitching, I'm going to get into my segment here, which we are titling "Turned On by Statistics."
Yeah.
So as far as my analysis, and I tried to evaluate starting pitchers in the league, Florida State's top two, which are Parker Messick and Bryce Hubbard, I believe the second guy's name is, they're two of the top 10, if not the top 5 arms in the league. And the way I evaluated them quantitatively was I took their strikeouts per inning pitched and subtracted their walks and hits per innings pitched. So trying to assess how a pitcher is making a mark on a game by either recording outs via a strikeout or allowing base runners via a walk or a hit. So my statistic for today is 1.2. That is the K per inning pitched minus the whip. So those values specifically, this pitcher is averaging 1.65 strikeouts per inning, so almost 3 strikeouts for every 2 innings pitched, and 0.45 walks and hits per innings pitched, so less than 1 every 2 innings. This pitcher is from Campbell. He's a sophomore. His name is Thomas Harrington. And he's the pitcher that against Liberty went 7 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts, 0 walks, and 5 hits. So that's another reason why I didn't hold that loss against Liberty, because this pitcher from Campbell he's among the best in the nation right now. Again, he's not facing the Texases of the world, but in 4 starts, he's thrown 27 innings, given up 12 hits, 2 walks, and 40 strikeouts. So the man is dealing.
Wow.
When I calculated these values yesterday, the only pitcher in collegiate baseball with a better mark for Ks minus walks and hits per inning pitched was Thatcher Hurd of UCLA. And that dude will probably deserve his own segment. He is averaging right now almost 2 strikeouts per inning and 0.6 walks and hits per inning pitched. So that is the statistic that turns me on, and also
turns us all on right there. That's
feeds a little
beautiful
bit
statistic
into why I don't hold that loss against Liberty so much. So does anybody else have a statistic that stands out to them as we move along through this segment and into the next ones?
Let's go back to what we talked about earlier with Birdie from Tech. He had 8 strikeouts in the first 2 innings, and you guys might think that's impossible, but what happened was a drop third strike, and one of the guys got on base, and then the second one was a throwing error from the catcher. So he had to actually get 8 outs in 2 innings, and they all happened to be strikeouts. So he was just mowing them down, and that's just an incredible stat.
Yeah, that's again, to Calvin's credit, right? Our first guest, that is absolutely the beautiful thing about baseball is that you can go to a baseball park any given day and absolutely have a chance of seeing something that you've never seen before and may never again. Like the game is just incredible in that way. And when are you going to see 8 strikeouts in 2 innings?
And shout out to the catcher too for making that possible.
Yeah. He's just trying to help.
Thanks for being mediocre. Yeah. Yeah, so I got one. It's not too crazy. It's actually one of my own teams, Maryland. Ryan Ramsey. He had a career high game today. 13 Ks. He had 7 strikeouts through 2 2/3. So pretty solid. He pitched 6 innings today. Only gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, and a hit by pitch with a 0.00 ERA. So he was my runner-up for Player of the Week, and he had some nice stats, so I thought I'd just get his name out there in the turned on by stats segment.
Mine, so I'll do, Eric, if you want to go, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So mine's not player set. I got the game, the big one, the 20-inning game today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So the 20-inning game.
Who played in that one?
Jacksonville and Florida International. They were tied 4-4 until the 20th inning. Christian Koipel was 2 for 10. 2 for 10, man. That's a rough day. But this man had 6 of the 9 RBIs.
What?
2 hits and 6 RBIs.
2 hits, 6 RBIs. He had a grand slam on the top of the 20th. He just wanted to go home. He was
Oh, that's
done.
awesome.
gosh.
That is awesome.
He hit a
He
grand
had to
slam
fly back to New
top of
York.
the 20th. Yep. So, dude,
It's
it was
time
crazy.
to go.
What's crazy is of the 60 outs that they had, they got struck out 20 times. Jacksonville did.
Ooh.
So a third.
I would have expected that to be more.
More,
Well, what's
yeah.
even
20 innings.
crazier? Yeah, FIU only had 13.
Wow.
Dude, there had to been some
So,
players throwing too.
FIU
in that
had
game.
8. FIU had 8 total pitchers, and Jacksonville had 5 of their 7 pitchers throw 3 innings each.
Bro, I wonder if these were all bullpen guys. Or did they
There's
just
the-
throw out shortstops or
Well, if they did,
That's-
they got the job done.
If we want to talk about players pitching, mine right here, right, this guy's got half the stats of the player Travis was talking about. He's got 12 2/3 innings in 4 appearances.
Is this
Has
player
not
from
allowed
Virginia?
Yep, Devin Ortiz.
Yes. Yeah.
He's given up 0 runs in those 12 2/3 innings, only allowed 6 hits, has 20 strikeouts, and no walks, which is impressive as a pitcher. And then you talk about the fact that in 40 at-bats, he's hitting .350 with a .473 on base percentage. And 15 RBIs in
Shohei
40
of the NCAA
at-bats.
right there.
He's the new Brendan McKay. Brendan McKay was the 4th overall pick in 2017.
There's a award in college baseball called the John Olerud Award that rewards the best two-way player in college. So, after the first weekend, I was really high on Braden Montgomery. He's cooled off a little bit, but Like this kid he's doing it from Virginia.
And I think he's only a sophomore too, so they still got I think 2-3 more
He's
years.
got room, yeah.
So my statistic is Tennessee. They've hit 43 home runs this year. They lead the nation in home runs. The second place team is Wake Forest with 31.
Wow.
I think there needs to be some sort of asterisk by that, though.
By
Played
Iowa.
You
No, I
have
mean-
to play college
gotta-
teams, not high school teams.
Okay, I was about to say this. Tennessee hit, I think, 6 this weekend against Rhode Island.
And they hit
And-
probably 20 against Iona.
And Wake Forest only hit 3 against Florida State. But I thought that was pretty cool. I mean,
That is incredible, though. That's a lot of home runs.
16 home runs in the league.
More than second place.
Yeah.
That's absurd. I think my vote's gonna have to go to the 20 inning game. Like again,
Yeah,
just something that is absolutely. Imagine getting 2 hits, which is like, hey, a multi-hit performance, and then he got out 8 other times.
Yeah, they probably wish they had that rule where
There
you put
were
a runner on
multiple-
second to
There were
start the
multiple
extras.
guys that in that game. The one that really stood out was the 2 for 10 because he hit the grand slam. But there were multiple guys in that game that went like 1 for 9, or I think there was
Oh.
another guy that went 0 for 9.
Yikes.
Jeez.
That's like a whole weekend in one. I mean,
Series.
20
Yeah.
innings, right? Like that's 2 games of baseball plus a couple innings. So
Yeah, that's
that's
insane.
crazy. Yeah. Okay, TJ, take us away.
So, as it's been said on past podcasts, I keep messing that up. I'm all about the bold predictions, so I'm leading the bold prediction segment, and I think I'm going to kick it off here. I think I'm going to stick. It's a little bit changed, but I'm sticking to Texas wins the next 7 games. And if they don't, I gave myself a little incentive. I will shotgun a Twisted Tea on the pod.
You didn't need that incentive. You would have done that
Yeah, I was gonna say,
anyway.
you do
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Just wanted to clear it by you
Yeah,
guys.
you're
Seems
If
like we're doing
Texas
it.
doesn't win, I'm gonna have fun.
yeah, your 10 of 11 lasted 4 games.
All right. Well,
He's
I'll
got another
shotgun
bold.
one-
This is another bold prediction.
Yeah, I'll
guys.
shotgun
Yeah.
one for that. I'm
This is what it's all
doubling down. Texas is going.
Oh,
to
we're
come
gonna
back.
see that shotgun.
That's
But
fine.
it's not double or nothing. It's double or double. Like either way, two Twisted Teas will be consumed.
Exactly. I'll do one next week for my missed pick of the 10 of 11.
Blacked out on the pod. That's what we
And
need
then
to see.
and then if they lose one, which I don't expect them to, I'll do another one.
So what's their schedule coming up for the
Oh,
next 7
their
games?
their next 7 games are going to be the College of Charleston, the Citadel, 3 games against Incarnate Word,
Oh my god.
and then Central Arkansas.
If
Oh man,
if they
really
lose
put their
2
soft part of the schedule.
if
in
they
there,
lose
didn't
2 games,
Yeah, they needed that break before.
So I need to change
started.
it. It's next 6 games. I think I could go 7, but they're going into Tech weekend, so I'll put it back down to 6. They're winning the next 6 games.
All right, next 7 games,
So-
got it.
Reeling back that boldness.
They're gonna win their next 1 game.
and we'll see him
You
do
know
it on
what?
next Monday's
I'll-
pod.
Yeah, I'll shotgun for every one they lose. We'll call it TJ's Shotgun Hour. I don't know.
Yeah. We finally found a segment meant just for you.
All right, over to you, Travis.
Okay, so I had my notes if Arkansas won today, which they did. I think they are kicking it into gear. I think they will win after coming out to a slow start this season. I think they are going to win their next 11 games. So the first 2 are against Grambling.
Okay.
I think they will sweep Kentucky in Fayetteville. They will
That's
beat
bold.
Omaha. They will beat Omaha. And then they will sweep Missouri at Missouri.
Missouri's
And then they play.
playing good ball
And then they
too.
play Little Rock. So, no, I saw Missouri today. Their shortstop hit an absolute dong over the scoreboard.
That's I picked them up. I picked Missouri up
Yeah.
too.
So they're playing well. And then they played 2 games against Little Rock before. I think they'll beat Mississippi State. That's the first weekend in April, but I don't think they'll necessarily sweep. So I think, I kept saying earlier in the year, Arkansas needed to find the switch. Like, they needed to find their bats. And this 4-game series against UIC, They're finally starting to generate some runs. They put up 12, 5, 10, 10. So I think they're starting to get the hits. Hitting's contagious. I think they're going to roll and find their stride, which they haven't yet. I think they're coming into it. So second one, I think this is more interesting. So there are 7 ACC teams in the top 30 in team ERA. There are 11 in the top 100. And then the last teams are Georgia Tech. Their team ERA is 4.53. That ranks 110th. Duke is 4.54, 111th. And Louisville is last, so 4.75, 126th. My bold prediction is that Georgia Tech will finish bottom 3 in the ACC in ERA and still win the ACC.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That is a capital bold.
I'm gonna go.
You took the bold and really ran with it.
I'm gonna take based off of just finishing on that. I didn't even have this as one of my predictions, but there's no way Georgia Tech beats Notre Dame in the ACC.
All right.
Wow.
There
That's
you
a
go.
very bold prediction.
We need to have some sort of wager for this.
So I didn't have that.
I'm sure they
prediction
play
at
each
all,
other.
but based off of that, I'm taking Notre Dame over Georgia Tech for the ACC.
Yeah, so-
they're just playing phenomenal.
I'll take that. I think Notre Dame's a pretender.
They're on football, and most of the time they're on baseball. Too,
They beat
so.
NC State, who we
Stop it.
don't
Stop
we don't need to talk
that
about
team.
NC State.
Stop talking about
Yeah.
that damn team.
But I think
That's
I
all
think
I'm gonna say.
Notre Dame is still a solid. I think they're definitely a contender. I think they're gonna overpower Georgia.
Yeah. So I have a nice wager for this.
Okay.
All right. Georgia Tech wins. TJ shotguns a T.
Okay.
If Notre Dame wins, TJ
Have
shotguns
my
a T.
interest. Now you have my attention. So
About
it does not look like. Well, this will actually be awesome because I don't think Notre Dame and Georgia Tech play in the regular season. So they will, if they meet, they will have to meet in the ACC tournament, which will be awesome.
And I would like to kind of cap on this because my bold prediction is also in the ACC, and my prediction is going to be Duke goes 4-0 this week.
No
so
chance.
I have them beating West
I don't even know who
Virginia.
they're playing. No,
Here's the thing.
chance.
Hold on. Hear me out. I have them beating West Virginia on Tuesday, and I have them sweeping North Carolina. Now, okay, this is very bold, but I don't.
Bold.
Do you guys know
Again,
who won the ACC?
Bold and stupid are not synonymous.
Do you guys know who won the ACC last year? The Duke Blue Devils.
You know who won the national championship last year?
Not the Duke
Mississippi
Blue
State.
Devils. But yeah, I just think everybody had them in their top 25, and they completely fell off the map with the first loss of the season to Virginia Military Institute. But I do
As
think
they
that they're.
should.
And then they kept losing.
Yeah, I think they're eager to bounce back. So I think this is their time to look like a contender. If they want to be back in the top 25, they've got to do something. So my bold prediction is them going 4-0.
So mine is also based off of his. I have North Carolina as my real bold prediction. I have them going 9-1 in their next 10 games.
Ooh.
So their next 10 games are the Military Institute, Richmond. I have them sweeping Duke. Then they play Appalachian
Big
State.
series for Sack
Big
Baseball
series this
Pod.
weekend.
Yeah, I have them sweeping Duke. Then they play Appalachian State, which I have them beating. And then versus Miami, I have them going 2-1. They're gonna win the series, but I think Miami will still pull out a win. And then they play UNC Wilmington. So I have them going 9-1, becoming 22-3. And I also think that propels them into top 7, maybe top 5 rankings.
The only thing I'll say about North Carolina is they barely squeaked out some victories against Pitt.
Yeah,
I
they're
said
definitely super close wins. They're not putting up big runs like some of these
So-
other teams are. But
so
they're
you're
still good
saying-
wins.
You're saying North Carolina goes 9-1?
Yep, in the next 10 games.
Okay, and you know that the series against Duke is at Duke.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So you
not
You
a
know
not a
that
problem.
Yeah,
I got you.
they're not far away.
This is gonna be. Yeah, but it's still not your home field, not your home.
But it's
crowd,
not even
you
their
know.
home field.
It's
It's,
not
the
even-
Durham
yeah.
Bulls
Yeah, it's
field.
Durham Bulls field.
They're gonna
So-
ride a bike to warm up their legs to the stadium.
Hey, so we got a big series this weekend then.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
okay.
Again,
All right.
same wager applies. Benjie wins, I'll shotgun a tweet.
No,
Austin wins,
honestly,
I'll shotgun a tweet.
honestly, I'll do it for both of them. If Duke sweeps or if I lose to Georgia Tech, I'll do the same thing. I'll shotgun.
We're gonna rename this segment TJ's Twisted Tea Takes. And we're gonna somehow
That's
work on
actually
a
good.
sponsor. All right,
Yeah,
we're gonna work on a
absolutely.
sponsor. Twisted
Free
Tea.
advertising right now.
So I
sponsor.
actually
wrap up
have
these,
a bad bold prediction. All right.
Is it Duke's going to
Mississippi
sweep? Because
State
that was pretty
losing
bad.
their next 15 games.
Backwards. LSU is not
So
it.
I'm
God, put it
gonna.
forward. You have a massive forehead.
I know, but I'm gonna disrespect my Tigers a little bit here.
Oh, wow.
I think they drop 2 of their next 3 series and 1 of 2 midweek games.
Oh,
Wow.
So they
let's hear them.
They play Texas A&M this weekend. Then they
Okay.
play Florida, and then they play Auburn. Auburn and Florida are both very hot. A&M
Don't tell me you
sucks.
think Auburn's a contender, Brennan.
No, but I don't think LSU has the pitching staff with Blake Money being out. Ty Floyd has to move up to be a Friday starter.
What's
He
the
has-
status on Blake Money? Is there any estimate when he's going to be back?
I haven't seen anything else on it. I'm just going to go ahead and count him out for at least this one weekend. So Ty Floyd has a fastball and then a fastball that they call a slider. So they don't have a typical Friday starter.
The old cutter.
Yeah. So I think they definitely drop Florida, and there's potential to drop either Auburn or A&M. And then they play
LSU losing to A&M would be catastrophic.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
because
then-
A&M is.
Yeah.
And you're saying drop the series, right? Not get
Yeah.
swept.
No, just drop
Yeah,
the
just
series.
losing. Yeah,
Just
1-2.
2-1. Yeah, 1-2.
And then
Okay.
they'll lose
Dang.
1 to either Tulane or LA Tech in the next two weeks.
I mean, I have yet to put LSU in my top 5, but I'm not that low on them. I would at least pick them to beat A&M and Auburn, but
After
credit. Hey, it didn't let it never be said about Brennan that he's not willing to be realistic
Yeah,
about the
I'm
Tigers.
not a homer. I'm not a homer. But I mean, this weekend they walked off Bethune-Cookman, and then they beat them. I mean, they beat them 5-1 and 15-0. But that Friday night game that they won 8-7 just proves that they don't have the Friday arms that they need to start the series off right.
Bethune-Cookman's left fielder wears a medium too. Also, that jersey was unnecessarily tight.
They almost beat Florida in a regional in 2017. So watch your mouth a little bit.
All right, for the final one, we got Eric.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to Virginia for both of my bold predictions here. All right, so Virginia's sitting at 14-1 right now. Going into their series with Wake Forest, they're going to be 22-1. They have a 2-game series against Rider, a 3-game set against Boston College and Towson before going into their Wake Forest series. So I think they're going to go 22-1 and win their next 8 games.
Wait,
Not 22-1 from now.
Yeah, not
22-1 from now.
No,
They
they'll
will
be
be
22-1.
22-1 when they come.
He's saying
Wake
going
Forest.
into the Wake Forest series, they'll be 22.
Yeah, before
which team?
Virginia.
Virginia. Wow.
And then
Dang. I mean, 22-1 is no joke. That's like,
That's
and then
proven elite.
My second bold prediction is that 14 days from now, we'll have a new home run leader. And that man is going to be Jake Geloff.
Not Jack
Or Ray
Mayhoff.
Geloff.
Got to shout him
Or
out
Ray
every
Geloff.
pod, baby.
Or State Geloff, whatever you want to call him. Hitting
Meat
home
off.
runs off the bull in Durham. He's going to be the home run leader in 14 days.
Well, so I think it's going to be a running between him, Jacob Berry, and Derek Orndorff, if that's what you're talking about. Because Jacob
gotta
Berry's
throw in
balls
Ivan
are
Melendez,
leaving the yards
too.
right now.
You got to throw in the
So,
Hispanic Titanic in that race.
actually, there's a new OPS leader, if you guys want to hear about him.
Let's hear it.
And this is as of games today. So Derek Orndorff was just surpassed by Nathan Chong of St. Mary's in California, he's getting on base at a 674 clip and slugging 1.2. So he just passed Orndorff. Who'd you say was going to pass him? Where's Geloff? Let me see.
Jake Geloff will be the home run leader.
Jack Mayhoff.
I mean,
While
I got
you're
like
looking
2 or
at
3
that,
doms
while you're
against
looking at
Longwood.
that, I'm gonna choose my winner for this segment.
Actually, Geloff didn't even
I will not
qualify
choose my winner.
because he's second in slugging, but he's not in the top 100 hitters in on base percentage. So
You say he's going to be the
For the-
home run leader?
He said home runs though.
yes,
home
he
run
did say
leader.
home runs.
Yep.
So.
All right, Jowers,
So
who you
for
got?
my TJ's Twisted Tea takes,
how do you declare a winner? What you're picking
I'm
what's the
going
most
off
likely
of,
to come true, or
No, I think I'm just going off of boldest. Just simply. But then, I mean, that runs the risk of, Texas is going to win the next 900 games.
I feel like
so most likely to come
yeah.
true, I will go with that. Eric is not it. That Jake Geloff
22
is
and 1.
Yeah. Well, and the Jake Geloff one too. I think. Can you say yours again, Travis?
Mine was that Arkansas will win their next 11 games, and then also my second prediction was that Georgia Tech will finish bottom 3 in the ACC and ERA and still win the ACC.
So I think Georgia Tech will win the ACC, but I don't. I think the most likely thing to happen, I think it is Benjie's. Suges is you
Benjie's
can't.
just sweet.
Benjie's was like 11 of their. They're only dropping.
Yeah, they're only dropping 1 to Miami in the next 10 games.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't. Suges is just completely wrong because Duke is not going to sweep North Carolina.
Right.
And I think Brennan is underestimating his Tigers. I think they will do better than that. So I'm going with Benjie for this week's Twisted TJ's takes.
Fair enough. Okay, Benji's sweeping things today.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, boys.
Yeah.
Took 2 weeks to research, huh?
Well, so
yeah, I wish I bet it took 2 hours.
Right.
All right. Well, Benji, take us through your segment there then. The
So I
2
got
hours of
big-
research you did.
I got biggest movers, and this was like the hardest freaking thing to figure out because this shit changes so much based off of ELO. But obviously, I think Texas is getting booted from number 1. I think obviously it's not a big move. They're gonna either go 2 or 3, but them being booted from number 1 is a big deal. That's a big deal. I think Ole Miss is gonna take that spot. Ole Miss has been hot. I think they're going to take that spot at number 1. My next move is Notre Dame from the 10 ranking, roughly. I was looking at a couple of different places. They have roughly anywhere between 9 to 12. I think they're going to move in the number 5 spot with their play this weekend and how they've been playing over the last couple of weeks. Then I've got Stanford dropping 5 spots in the top 25, if not getting out of the 25 for some people. The big ones, so I only went up to, based on the top 100, Troy moved up 30 spots this week into the top 75. And then I also have Tulane dropping out of the top 50 into the 70 spot. They dropped 40 places.
As they should.
Yeah, they've had 4 straight losses, and they've been big losses. Going from ranked to losing 4 straight is not a good look. But, Suges, you're going to love this take that I got. I think Oklahoma is going to bounce back. They're bouncing back right now from a rough weekend last weekend. They moved up to the top 40 again. Obviously, we'll see how that goes with their next coming weeks. They have Baylor and Texas on their schedule for weekend series. I don't think they're going to survive the Texas series. But I think they're bouncing back from their next coming schedule is not the hardest. So I think they'll bounce back. If not top 25, then at least top 30.
Let's go. I love that take.
I'd be shocked if we see OU in the top 25 this year in a D1 poll. But
They have
That's
here's the
fair.
thing. They have really like good 1-2, but their bullpen is absolute
we know
shit.
you.
So if they can get this shit together with the bullpen, possible top 30.
Before we finish though, I do want to thank you guys for being so understanding the last couple of days because I've had a lot of family stuff going on. So I just want to appreciate you guys. I know I've missed the last 2, so
No worries, man.
appreciate you guys
That's
a
good.
lot. So
Glad to have you tonight, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
hey, yeah.
You're getting these
Well, you
awards.
know.
Actually, I'm not glad to have you. Getting all these awards, man.
So, So Brennan will, I think, take us home.
All right, cool. And I guess we'll close it out today with the pick'em of the midweek, I should say. So the first game we have is the Tulane LSU on Tuesday. We have Florida State, and West Virginia Duke. What are you guys' thoughts on those 3 games?
So I'm gonna have to go with LSU, man.
Yeah.
I think I have to.
You know,
I
last
agree with
week,
that.
if you asked this last week, it would have been Tulane hands down.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
for
agree
sure.
with that.
Absolutely.
They were on the upward trend, and now it's like, my
Fell
God,
off
can
the
they
map.
beat? Can they beat anybody? And maybe it's just so tough because like you don't want to overreact, but like you get. I mean, we talked about NC State getting swept, right? Like getting swept by. Sorry, but like
Jeez,
Tulane
man.
getting swept by Evansville, like that's tough. It's tough to lose 3 games in a row like that. So, I go LSU.
Does that make Mississippi State's win for Tulane? I mean, does that make it look
No, it makes
good?
their losses look way worse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Way
Diving
worse.
too
So-
deep there,
And
Suge.
for Mississippi State too, that
But
makes them
let's
look,
let's stay on track here.
So,
I
so
got
we're
I got
all so
LSU
we're all
in that
picking
game.
Tigers.
Yeah.
all Tigers go
Tulane.
Yeah.
Tigers.
all
Tigers.
Tigers.
All right, Florida State. Who we got? What we thinking?
Florida.
Florida.
This is a
Florida.
midweek
Yeah.
game.
Florida.
Yeah, it's just a one.
Is it a Monday or a Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday.
Ooh, they're gonna
Yeah.
be drunk.
So
Yeah, no, Florida.
Florida State,
Tallahassee.
Go Gators.
Florida State's down bad on the weekdays, but I still
Yeah.
got to stick with my team. I'm going Florida State on this.
All
You
right,
don't
I-
have to.
I think
You
I'm
don't
also
have
going to
to.
go
Look
Florida
at-
State.
I got to
Look at
pull
Brennan.
Florida
Really?
State.
Against
I
LSU.
think I'm also going to go Florida State.
Dude, if it's not Messick or Hubbard starting, they ain't got a fucking shot. And they're not. Spoiler alert, neither of them are starting.
I think
then-
Florida's a pretender too. So
You guys remember the dude I
Wow.
said started for Florida in the midweek last week? The dude that just came off of Tommy John and looked electric. So Florida's
Yo.
got the pitching. So
And then West
Florida.
Virginia Duke.
well, I think
Not
I
Duke.
have to go with Duke with my bold prediction. So if they lose this midweek and already ruin my bold prediction, I'm going to be so upset. But
I mean,
My
West
whole prediction
Virginia
was just to sweep UNC, I thought.
No, he
no,
said-
Oh, it
4-0
was
on the week.
including
4-0 on the
oh,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, West Virginia just had a tough series against Ohio State, so
Yeah, and Ohio State.
Yeah, but Duke is
dog
good.
water.
Duke
they're
is
better than
good
Ohio
either.
State. They're better than
Yeah.
Ohio State.
They
I
give
don't
me
know.
West Virginia, and I will call Grant Hussey or McGuire. There's a guy whose last name is literally McGuire. One of them will home run, and
Go ahead.
no, one of them will hit a home run, and West Virginia will win.
Yeah, I'm going to go West Virginia on this one as
Yep.
well.
I think that's a fair
So-
take.
So
Eric,
me and
did
Eric
you have-
Duke, everybody else. West
Duke 'em,
Virginia.
Duke 'em.
Yeah, I'm taking West Virginia too.
The Dukies.
Ooh.
All right, Benji,
Alright.
it's on.
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yep.
Okay,
That's the 3
cool.
for the week.
All right, guys. I think the new format worked awesome. I hope
Yeah.
everybody enjoyed the conversation, enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed, talking about it. I had a blast. So
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely keep this moving forward, and looking forward to hearing your guys' responses to this episode as well as the ranking episode that will drop on Monday, maybe Monday night. Well, maybe Monday night. All right, guys. Tune in soon.